Hello, everyone. Hello, Georgella. Welcome.
Mm.
Here we are for where I'm from, 200. And I'm just so thrilled to be at 200 and to be here with you. You're my first. You were here for, I think, 43 or something, and now you're here for 200. You're my first repeat, which makes a lot of sense. Um, Here you are. I don't really have much else to say, but I'm just so grateful for you because of your friendship, and then also for the poem because it's changed my life.
Well, it's changed my life too. I love that you're doing this. I think um, it's so incredible. I really enjoy it. And
Isn't it kind of magical?
it is magical. Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
that way every week, or every time someone reaches out to me and just says, "Oh, hi, I'd like to." I just think it's nice to have something positive to focus my energy on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. I feel that way about the blank page.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's true. That's a good
nope.
point. You're
Andy,
always good with wise sayings.
yeah. Well, that's hilarious.
I
But
think it's true. I think it's true. I'm sticking by it. So we had a plan for this, which I think I mentioned when I talked to Fred that you were going to read a poem that you had written around the same time as the finished Where I'm From poem. But the fates had other plans for us. So what are we going to do today, Georgella?
I'm going to begin with the poem that my poem jumped off from. And it's by an incredible writer named Joe Carson, who was from East Tennessee, who was a dear friend of mine, a beloved friend. And uh, her book, this will be backwards, but her book is called Told
No,
Nobody.
it's right ways.
It is.
Yes.
Hey,
Stories I ain't told.
nobody yet.
All right.
And it's still in print, not this edition, but it is still in print. And it's all monologues and dialogues spoken by real people she heard. And she didn't record them. She took them to heart. And then as soon as she could, she wrote them down and left things out when needed. Um, and I think in some cases probably intensified them. I don't know. But so my poem started with her poem. Her poem started with something somebody said. So it's been a pass it on thing.
Mhm.
And her poems don't have titles, they have numbers. And this is number 22. I want to know when you get to be from a place. 5 years, 10, 20. What about when you find a place you love? But, honey, where are you from? It is a discriminatory question, and it turns up everywhere, including job applications. I am from 3 states and 6 different cities. I am from Interstate 40. I am from the neighborhoods where people moved every other year. I am from the work my father did. I am from the things I hang on my wall and the bed I get out of in the morning. I'm from that suspicious minority that doesn't have roots like trees. I have lived here 8 years, and the mountain I see when I wake up is imprinted. Like a duck, I know my mother when I see her. Can you earn being from a place? I work, I vote, I help my neighbors, I pay taxes. Can I pledge allegiance? People would do better to ask, where are you from of Eastman or Nuclear Fuel Services or the waste management company that left the toxic dump in Bumpus Cove? And if the identity is so precious, they should ask it of Kroger and Kmart and Long John Silver's. But it never goes that far. It just goes to the property boundary when my neighbor steps back a step and says, "Oh, you're not from here, are you?" So, like so much of Joe's work, that just uh, that just captured my imagination, and I am from people who have roots like trees.
Mhm.
So um, so I started making a list of I am from statements and in this little notebook, and that I edited this poem. Um, and while I have Joe, I acknowledge Joe on my website. I
Hmm.
wish at the beginning it had said after Joe Carson,
Yeah.
but I didn't know. I mean,
How
I,
could you have known?
I could
In a
never
million years, how would you have known?
million years. No, I could not.
No, I mean, I acknowledged you, obviously, because I just wanted everyone to know I didn't make it up. Because people have a tendency to believe that something begins with whoever's speaking about it, even though that's so rarely the case.
So
Um,
really, yes.
but if I had
And
been younger, I wouldn't have had the, I wouldn't have thought of that.
and I this was well, I wrote it in 1993, and I didn't have the habit of saying
Right.
after. So anyway, Joe and I talked about it, and and she said, "Well, George," she called me. Lots of people call me George. Um, I put your words in my stories,
Mm.
and I can't stop in the middle of the story, and but anyway,
Well,
here's
and
my
I'm grateful before you begin your poem that you had an opportunity to read Joe's work
oh,
here because it is sort of becoming a record of sorts,
yeah,
this of this poem. And also what a powerful, did she call it a poem? Would you call that a poem? What you just read of Joe Carson's? What a powerful poem about the flip side of where I'm from, right? Like so much of what we talk about here is owning where we're from as a means to hold our stories and to release ourselves from shame. But how that very same question is weaponized all the time and is
yeah,
currently being weaponized.
exactly.
Hmm.
And it's used to exclude
Yes. Yes.
and to shame.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I should say about my poem, one thing you wouldn't necessarily understand is the term carbon tetrachloride.
Hmm.
He was a dry cleaner, and
Hmm.
that's carcinogenic, but we thought it was our friend.
That was true of a lot of those things.
So many. We called it affectionately carbon tet.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a I'm not going to come up with the name, but there's a comic who talks about Wanda Sykes. Have you seen her talk about how they used to chase the fumigation trucks that would
No,
fumigate the neighborhood and they would, jump and play in it and they thought it was a miracle.
do it.
And
Do it.
yeah, it was carcinogenic, of course. So yeah, there was a lot of just, we didn't know.
We didn't know. We didn't know. Okay. Where I'm from clothespins, from Clorox and carbon tetrachloride. I'm from the dirt under the back porch, black, listening. It tasted like beets. I am from the forsythia bush, the Dutch elm, whose long gone limbs I remember as if they were my own. I'm from fudge and eyeglasses, from Imogene and Alafair. I'm from the know-it-alls and the pass-it-ons, from perk up and pipe down. I'm from He restoreth my soul with a cottonball lamb and 10 verses I can say myself. I'm from Artemus and Billie's branch, fried corn and strong coffee. From the finger my grandfather lost to the auger, the eye my father shut to keep his sight. Under my bed was a dress box, spilling old pictures, a sift of lost faces to drift beneath my dreams. I am from those moments, snapped before I budded, leaf fall from the family tree.
What a privilege to hear you read that. And it reminds me so much of every poem because I wouldn't have pronounced those words the same way or those names the same way. And that is one of the treats every time is the way things are said and the cadence as well.
Yes. Well, and I've had people think that Artemus and Billie's branch, that they were the name of the couple
Mm-hmm.
in Billie. So I'm from the branch of, and then they say their
Mm-hmm.
family
Mm-hmm.
is really,
Mm-hmm.
which works, but
Mm-hmm.
I thought of it. Um, yeah, it's just, there's infinite variety possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So normally, what I ask at this juncture is, what was it like for you writing this poem? Which is a little different for you because it was a long time ago. Do you remember, or was it just another poem you wrote?
I remember where I was sitting when I started it. And one reason I do is that this little notebook has still got, or it did still have, yeah, it's got the price tag on it.
And it was what,
I,
$1?
I got it, oh, $1.25.
Mm-hmm.
Got it at Radford University bookstore in Virginia when I was teaching there in a summer workshop. And I didn't notice that that's where I got it until I was in Washington, D.C. at the NCTE conference. And there was a session on where I'm from, organized by somebody from Radford.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get up and I see, I wrote this at Radford. And it was like, woo,
That
you know,
is.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But so that's how I know. I mean, I had the time in here because um, I date the notebooks, but didn't know. I didn't know where I was. Um, but anyway, no, I remember because I was so um, just electrified by it when I started it. It was like,
Oh.
because I'd never done anything that was so free,
Mm-hmm.
where I was not trying to finish it and where it just kept unfolding and unfolding and unfolding. Um, and I was I was loving the process, and I was avoiding preparing the next day's workshop. But
That's the
but
best feeling, isn't it? When it takes you.
oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. When you're transported,
Mhm.
and so
That's the feeling you chase, I think, a little bit for me.
it is, it is, and I think that it's as Joe would say, it's grace. Uh, yes, this her poem, very first poem in this book. Um, uh, is about Louis Comfort did not outlive as many enemies as he hoped to. I know it's one of them. But anyway, she has these lines, grace or dying, one got Willis. I hope it was the grace. Grace don't always come on the wings of the dove or as a thief in the night or however it's supposed to. Sometimes it comes like a two-by-four to the side of the head and folks don't live through it. Um, she had a great ear for voices. Just,
Yes.
yeah,
Even in what you've just read, you feel transported. And do you know from the time you heard that or read that to when you wrote this poem, was it a short time? Was it a medium time? Do you have any sense?
let's see when this book came out. I mean, I heard Joe read long
Sure.
before. This book came out in 89,
Okay, so
but I
sometime.
met her in 1980 when I was working on the Appalachian Poetry Project
Hmm.
and and gathering uh, finding Appalachian poets
Hmm.
to do workshops and give readings, and because we had a grant, you
Hmm.
know,
Yes,
and
grants, aren't they a wonderful thing that we should
yeah,
continue having?
yeah,
Yes.
yes, they transform people's lives.
They do. They make it possible for people to pursue their art.
And I met Joe, and I also met uh, I met many wonderful poets, but a woman named Lee Howard. And so we were George and Lee and Joe.
Hmm.
And we immediately really, um, but yeah, I heard her perform these poems first in, I guess, 1980.
Yeah.
Uh, not all of them, she
But the
collected
idea of the poems, this sort of.
her,
Hmm.
performed them. She called them people pieces. She didn't call them poems,
Hmm.
people pieces. And one time when she performed that one, well, maybe it wasn't the number 22, but she was performing some of these in Texas. And, she said this came from somebody in Johnson City, Tennessee. And a woman in the audience said to her, "No, those people are from East Texas. I know people. They're my people." And Joe says, "No, they're my people. They're back in Tennessee." And they had this, but the woman heard,
Hmm. And there's
her.
a Johnson City in Texas, not East Texas, but there is a Johnson City in, yeah, in Texas, which is immediately what I thought of because I've been there.
How funny. How
Yep.
funny.
Lyndon, Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah.
That was his retirement spot, I think. Someone might say I'm wrong, but something with him. I've had hush puppies there. It's memorable.
Hush puppies.
But the reason I asked about how long was because I think it's an interesting thing as we age, particularly, and if a young person was watching this, how long we hold ideas with us, how long they germinate. There's really no deadline with creativity. And I think when I was younger, I felt like, oh, I got to really get to this as if it was going to expire.
Right. Right. But if it's rooted deep, it won't. And
Yes.
do you keep a journal?
No.
Mhm.
I know
Uh,
you do because I've seen yours back there.
I do. I do. And for me, not only, do I start something and then come back to it years later because I found it in my journal, but sometimes there are poems in there that I didn't recognize
Mm. Yeah.
because they didn't sound like me. They knew something I did.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not always poems either. Sometimes it's little pieces of prose. And on days when I'm, when the fire is out on the creative hearth,
Hmm.
with these journals and sometimes find a live
Hmm.
work, and that's a great gift. Plus, I find things my kids said like, really, how we should decorate this room is we just put chairs all against the wall like an airport gate. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes. That is why I have tried to at various it was very early in my life that I was encouraged not to keep a journal because it would have been used against me in some way. So I didn't. And then I just didn't. And then
Yeah,
it's just not part I think we have our habits, right? And they can change. Mine have over time. But I think I carry people with me. Less
mhm.
journals and ideas, but characters or people or their stories. I loved, I mean, as you can see, I love talking to people and hearing their stories and hear how they echo on each other. And I think those things grow in me
Yes, yes. Do you speak into your
every
voice?
once in a while. I do things every once in a while. I don't know. It happens. The things they come when the time is. Well, I don't have that much time. You know how it is. You're just doing all the things, and then you sit down. And you think, okay, I'm gonna write something, and then sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But
Yeah, yeah.
I still, someone a few poems ago said, "Oh, I'm not an established writer like you," and I laughed. Like
I,
established. Sorry, what did you say?
you said a few poems ago. I love that. A few.
That's that's how that's how I judge time. That's how it's like a few poems ago,
Yeah. That's,
because every week or this week too, or three actually, because I'm recording with you early, and then I have one live Wednesday and one live Friday. So I have
I didn't know you ever did two a week.
Sometimes I just do because it's how it worked out with people's schedules or my schedule. Or one of the best, there's so many wonderful things this whole process has given me. But one is I've never really been a fan of gatekeeping, mostly because I didn't benefit from it at first.
Yes.
So I wasn't a fan because it didn't personally benefit me. Um, but also it felt wrong,
Mhm.
as if art is quantifiable or judgeable or good or bad, or it just all feels icky.
So much room, so we have to keep people
Yep.
out.
Yep. Yes. I understand that, but this has given me an opportunity to sort of put my money where my mouth is, at least with my time. I say everyone's welcome and I mean it. Um, and another thing is that I've just kind of let go of too much worrying about it. It's going to happen. I'll be
Yeah.
here. It's been helpful.
That's wonderful. Um, yeah, I do think this need to that some people have to for you to prove yourself,
Yeah.
for you for them to decide whether or not, whether to include you or exclude you. Are you worthy of their whatever? It's a bad, it's a very destructive part of human nature, and
Yeah.
and I found out that I'm really lucky to be in a community of writers in Kentucky, and then in the Appalachian writers community that they don't do that. You know, there's a welcoming. I
Mhm.
don't, I don't mean that there aren't some
There's
jealousy.
always some bad apples
There will
in
be,
any group.
yeah, but basically, um, there's a rejoicing in the in people coming forward, and like this conference where I just taught, uh, I was thinking I've been going there since 1980, except for 1 year when I was off teaching somewhere else. But I was thinking about the Pete Seeger's song about uh, and when my hands can play no longer, hand the banjo down to the young ones stronger. And like that's what I'm doing. That's what I mean. I am the oldest person there for the dead. Um, but and at a time I thought I didn't have a place, but now I, in there anymore. But now I know I do. I mean, I'm the elder.
Yes. And I think you also give people space. You certainly have given me space and validation when we first spoke, and you were very free and open with what a poem is. So then when I have people come to me and say, "Oh, is this a poem or is this okay? Or do you have edits?" And I say, "No, it's your poem. Whatever it is yours. I like it." And that's would be my instinct. But, I was didn't do well in my poetry class in college and might and did have shame about it for a long time. And it helped me to have you say, "Oh, what you feel is valid. It has
Yeah,
merit."
yes. And as I probably told you, the first poems I had in a textbook,
Hmm.
uh, there were questions after them, and I couldn't answer them.
I don't know if you ever told me that.
Something is wrong here.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I I realized too, I think I mean, often people talk about, "Oh, I used to write poetry, but then I stopped because, someone got in their head that they weren't good enough, as if just the act itself wasn't worthwhile." And I think I just want to celebrate the act.
Yes, yes, I do too. And the keep the creativity flowing,
Yeah.
and uh, to know that your voice is welcome,
Yeah.
and and needed. Um, and I've been really lucky. So many people have done that for me, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think all of us feel seen when someone says, I'd like to hear your words, or your words meant something to me, or and I think that us sharing our stories really matters. At first, it just felt like such a funny thing that I did this. It was just a random thing that came to me. But over time, it's really felt like, oh, just me saying your story matters. It matters to at least 200 people
Right.
that somebody told them that,
It
because it
abs-
matters to me every time someone tells me. So
Absolutely. And that's
even
the
if it's just to give back. Sorry, what were you saying?
I say that's the pass it on,
Yeah.
you know, and um, the sense that someone hears and values your voice,
Mhm.
it frees you to write more.
Yeah.
You know? And I think the response to a poem is yay. And also, some there are stories hidden in there. And you
Hmm.
ask about those because there's more writing to come. Like in my poem, The Finger My Grandfather Lost to the Auger, that's a
Hmm.
whole, there usually are stories embedded.
Yes.
So there's more writing to go on. Um, and the eye my father shut to keep his sight,
I
because he
did
had
wonder about that hearing you read it, particularly.
double vision.
Mm.
Uh, but his brain was able to turn off the vision in one eye.
Mm.
So he proceeded in a single world. Whereas I had double vision and my brain said, oh no, we like it like this. And so I didn't know that I had double vision till I was in the fifth grade.
Mm.
I thought everybody saw two of everything
Mhm.
and ran into stuff.
Mhm.
Um, so so that's where that his brain shut his eye.
Mm.
You know, it turned it off. Then when he got to medical school and he was trying to do microscope work,
Mm.
that activated somehow that activated his other eye, and then he couldn't do it because of the doubling.
Mm.
And so that's why he became a dry cleaner instead of a doctor,
Aw.
because he could do the spotting. He could get spots out because he knew the chemistry.
Mhm.
And he might have gone back, but he came back to the mountains to earn money and because it would be expensive and figure out what to do. And my mother was home from college because her sister had been killed in a car wreck, and
Yes.
she was staying with her parents, and she got a job at the eye doctors
Mhm.
in the war,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and so they never went back. And so here I am.
Yes.
Yeah. Those turns that you think you choose your path, and there's so many because we live our stories intersect with other people's stories, and we live in history. And so we get like the pinball flipper just and
Yes.
off we go somewhere else.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. I feel acutely aware of that. I think a lot of people, maybe not as much, but I think it's probably related to anxiety a little bit.
yeah, I think like, oh no,
Yeah.
I, I
Uh-huh.
just I heard the bell ring. What does that mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
I heard the ball rolling down.
I try to stay grounded, Okay, here's what's happening. Here's what I can see and feel
Yeah,
and hear and touch, and not spiral about it. And I do think that writing really helps, and I do think that community really helps.
absolutely.
Um, because being isolated with my thoughts, not good. Not
Not
good
good.
for me. And I don't think it's good for most people. And to circle back to what you're saying about hearing a poem and there are more stories and more words in there. Many people have told me that after sharing a poem here. And we telling our stories matters, and we feel so powerless right now. And this is something we can do.
Yes. And just naming, the power of naming is steadying,
Yeah.
um, affirming, and knowing that, this is your page and you can claim it. And nobody can say you're doing it wrong.
Mhm.
And and for this moment, you are here and it's all right on the page. All writing, all right. That is that is grounding.
Mhm.
Um, and
Yeah.
I come back to it when I'm in a doctor's office waiting to hear, something I may not want to hear.
Mhm.
And and I have my little notebook, and if all I can do is describe the chair next to me,
Mhm.
hey, it's a really interesting chair all of a sudden.
That's true. Yeah. Or you look around, you think of all the people who are there with you and
Yeah.
their stories and what
Yes.
they
And
might be there for. And,
sometimes I take notes on what they say because
mhm.
you don't want to eavesdrop on people but they're great things to hear.
Mhm. I
Just
think we're
ran.
all a little bit voyeuristic, aren't we? Just rewatched Rear Window, which I'm sure you've seen because I think most people have our age and older. Um, and it was funny because we watched with our kids, and it was like early social media. Here he is sitting at the window watching all the and they talk about, you shouldn't be too much in people's business, you shouldn't be watching everybody. But the movie, in so many ways, is about that. I mean, the
Yes,
mystery is almost of secondary importance. The primary story is how we can't keep our eyes off others.
yes. And he's confined,
Mhm.
you know, to that view.
Yeah.
But yes, and how the presence of people, sometimes just their physical presence is so narrative.
Yes. Yes. That happened to me yesterday. I was in a waiting room with a person, a man, I'll just say a man, who just yawned so loudly and grunted when he crossed his legs and mimicked what was on the TV they were playing. And I just didn't want to look at him because he had so much presence, even not. I
Yeah.
just didn't, I was like, don't cross the visual line. Don't let him in
No,
because he
no.
wants in, you know? No.
More than his space.
Just not looking at you. It was funny to be. I am grateful as I become more aware of things and I can acknowledge them, because there's certainly a version of myself that would have been younger and more people pleasing probably that would have, oh well, why don't I want to talk to this? It's like,
No, you know now.
yeah, I don't want to. I don't need to. It's not my job.
You know trouble when you see it.
Yeah,
Uh,
and why? Why did we walk around, trying to be the world's ambassador?
well, because we're permeable, and so we do feel it.
Yeah.
We're not, um, we weren't brought up to honor those feelings and think it doesn't mean you have to turn on the siren of the rescue squad or whatever. You could just
Ignore
let
it.
it go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not responsible you're the only person in the waiting room you are responsible for.
I know, right? How refreshing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, good for me. I'm just going to read my book.
Yeah.
I am allowed to do that, and I enjoyed it very much. Um, so I don't know how we got there. Oh,
Yeah.
people having presences and being in waiting
And,
rooms with them and listening.
and the, you know, student who stretches out his legs way long in the aisle of the classroom.
Mhm.
Oh, uh,
I've done a lot of that as a woman, I will admit. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stretch out. I'm going to put my legs, I'm going to.
now it's claiming space after having been shrink wrapped.
Well, and for me, I don't know if you, but I would vacillate. I'm not gonna, I'm my own person. I have my autonomy. And then I'd be, confronted with any kind of what I perceived, what my nervous system perceived as threat. And then, so it would be this sort of
Right.
seesaw.
Yeah.
I deserve space. And then, oh, actually don't
Right.
notice me.
And, and the goal is to get to the place where you don't have to say to yourself, I deserve,
Right.
where you just are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that place is. I haven't gotten there yet.
It's ongoing. That's for sure.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
The who do you think you are kind of
I love that in your poem, it's something in Perk Up, or is it what's the first one?
perk up and pipe down.
Yeah, just the contrast of that is so perfect. And so
Yeah.
often the instructions from the world, right? From authority, be bigger,
Right.
be smaller.
Yeah.
Whatever you are being, be something else.
Yeah. It can't be right.
No,
Whatever.
no. And I just, oh, that so resonated with me. I remember when I first heard the saying the goalposts are always moving. I felt like, oh, that's so true.
Yeah.
I'm too young, then I'm too old, too big, I'm too small, I'm too loud, I'm too quiet, it's like the goalposts are always moving.
Do, which is to say, I'm female.
Yeah, but I think for a long time, because of my own self-loathing, which was such a big part of my survival, I really did internalize it and think, oh, if I can just do this, maybe then. And then that started to fall apart, which was a real gift, but was terrifying
Terrifying. Yes.
at the same
It
time.
it is. Yeah. Yeah. And ooh, yeah. Think you and I could just talk for
I know. I was like, oh, well, we should probably wrap up. I don't really know where the natural wrap. And any last thoughts? It's hard to. This is what happens when Georgella and I talk, whenever we talk. And that's why when I say this poem has changed my life, it has. But also, my friendship with you is incredibly meaningful to me because you're wonderful. And I do always feel like I could talk with you forever. And I just, I'm just very grateful.
well, I'm very grateful to you too. I feel like you have you have widened my world and I think you're just remarkable. So
You're
we'll
trying
just
to make me cry. You're trying to make me cry.
there's not this big distance between us. I mean,
No, and I think that is, I always feel that way with people who are younger than me who may not have done things. I feel exactly how I feel about you. You gave me permission. That is everything I endeavor to do with younger people that I mentor is like, you're great. What you're doing is amazing. Keep doing it.
yeah, go for it.
Yeah. And I just think well, you said I was remarkable, which is very generous. I feel the same way about you. And it's just a gift to have, I think, multi-generational relationships because it gives us grace, the good kind, the not
Yeah,
getting hit in the head kind.
before to the side of the head.
And it
Um,
helps with the whole gatekeeping, all of that. Like you realize it's not accomplishments or awards or whatever that we strive. It's not what I'm striving for. It's community and caring for people and help and amplifying
yeah,
people's voices.
yes. The truth is, and of course, I've told you how I your name is the name I chose for myself to try to get away from being George. Uh, anyway, I wanted to be Allison. Nobody would fall for it. They're all like,
They never do, Georgella. Did you know I wanted to be Samantha? No one was buying.
no, they won't.
No.
They won't. Just they're just mules. They're all mules. But but I feel kind of I'm just going to say this.
Say it.
Like you're my daughter in a way.
Oh, goodness.
I do.
Goodness gracious. Ah,
How wonderful is that? What a gift
it's
is
wonderful.
just, oh my goodness, the cat just knocked books
I
off the,
heard, I just heard a thump.
that's Major Tom. He's clearing out the
Yeah. So magical, right? To take it back to the beginning, it all feels quite magical to me. And I have to say to anybody who's watching, just keep going through the open door.
That's right.
Don't beat
That's
yourself up about the one that's closed. It's not for you.
no, no.
I did so much of banging on the door, really so much of it. And thinking, it's all about determination and trying harder. And it's actually about accepting that it's closed.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you said, that's not your door.
No.
And it's not your fault that it's closed.
Yes, very important. It is not your fault that it's closed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no, you can't even imagine the doors that are waiting for
No,
you.
you really can't. And I think that's why I get so emotional when talking to you and Fred, like nobody knew. And you don't know. You
Mm.
don't know what life holds, the beauty and the sadness. You don't know. And may there be more beauty than sadness
May
for
there
each of
be.
us.
Yes. Yes. And may we rejoice in all that we can share.
Yes, I gotta get to Kentucky. Um,
Oh, yes. Yeah. I hope you do, or I will get to Los Angeles.
we'll figure it out. But
Or we
well,
meet in Omaha.
Omaha is a lovely city, but it's sort of a random choice. I've driven through it many times, but
Yeah.
it's a nice city.
Mm.
Um, Nebraska gets a bad rap. Having lived in Colorado, they were our rivals. But I will say, Omaha's a nice city. Can't say as much for Lincoln. Sorry for those of you out there who live in Lincoln. Um,
Ever.
what,
You'll have the longest episode.
I know, but who better to have the
Never.
longest episode with? And I think anybody who watched this long, it was a pleasure for us to have this conversation. And thank you for coming along with us. And thank you for 200 episodes and almost 4 years of my life inspired by your poem. Thank you, Georgella.
Well, it's a great gift to me too. So we will just love each other and
Yes.
right.
Okay.
Share it.
Okay. The end.